Stephen A. Smith was in Detroit this past weekend. He recorded an episode of First Take in Detroit. He had a few things to say about the Detroit Pistons and some of their young core. Well, what did he say? And I'll give you guys my thoughts on what he said in today's episode of the Locked On Pistons podcast.
You are Locked On Pistons, your daily Detroit Pistons podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's the deal? Welcome back to another episode of the Locked On Pistons podcast. Per usual, I'm your host, Kook Cahill. You can find me over on Twitter at Kook Cahill. I want to thank you guys for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We are free and available on all your podcast platforms. And if you haven't already, head to the YouTube channel at Locked On Pistons. Hit that subscribe button. It's the best way to support the podcast. Or if you guys want to find another great way to support the podcast, go down below on whatever podcast platform you're listening to this on. Leave a 5-star review. That's another tremendous way to support the podcast. I would really appreciate it. I'm going to give you guys this heads up like I've been telling you guys. I'm going to continue to give you guys this heads up until it happens. At the end of this month and beginning of October, I will be in Jamaica getting married, so I will not be here for the beginning of training camp probably. I know we don't have a specific date on training camp, but a lot of us are assuming it's probably at the end of this month. So I won't be here for the beginning of training camp. I won't be here for the beginning of preseason because I will be getting married. You guys will get some scheduled ahead episodes. It probably won't be about the preseason, obviously, because I won't be around, but just want to give you guys that heads up every episode so you guys, when it happens, you guys aren't sitting there like, what's going on? Why isn't Koo giving us an update? All that kind of stuff. Yeah, I'll be in Jamaica getting married. So let's go ahead and talk about some of the things that Stephen A. Smith said about the Detroit Pistons young core while he was in Detroit this past week. So first, I want to say I think it was pretty cool that he was in Detroit and they recorded an episode of First Take in Detroit. I thought that was pretty cool. I always like seeing Detroit get some shine in the national media, whether it's, I know there's some questionable things that he said we're going to get to talking about, but I like the fact that they recorded in Detroit. I thought it was pretty dope. He had a few comments to say, and the first one we're going to talk about is specifically towards Cade Cunningham. And I'm going to give everybody a little bit of a background on his comments because I know where it stems from. It doesn't make it any less stupid. Let me just say that. It doesn't make it any less stupid, but I know the background from where this comes from. I'm giving everybody a little bit of a deeper dive into this. But Stephen A. said on Cade Cunningham ahead of his sophomore season, he said, he's got skill. He's still got to improve his shot. I think he's still got to improve that motor because the game is faster. The athletes are better, but he clearly belongs in this league. All right, so I feel like I feel like it kind of was a backhanded compliment, to be honest. The part about his shot is fair. We all know that Cade has to become more consistent his second season with his shot. And we've talked about it before. I think it's pretty funny that we're saying that by his shot because before his rookie season, everyone thought that the shot was going to be the thing that was there and everything else may have taken some time. And then the exact opposite happened. The finishing looked pretty good as the season went on. Getting to the rim, getting to his spots looked pretty good, but the shot wasn't there as consistently. So I think that's always pretty funny to think about. We were saying before his rookie season, and then what actually transpired during his rookie season was literally like the complete opposite. So I think that's pretty funny to look back on. But the part about his motor, it's just stupid. It's stupid, and I'm going a little bit of a rant before I explain where the background of this comment comes from. It goes back all the way to when Cade before he was even drafted by the Pistons, when they were discussing who should be the first overall pick on first day. It goes all the way back to then. But this is one of my concerns with Cade being in Detroit and any player getting drafted to Detroit, any Detroit team, to be honest, like the Lions too, especially the Pistons, is that one, the national media people aren't going to watch Detroit. And then when they do make appearances like this in Detroit, or they get asked about Detroit on a Detroit podcast or something, or they make some kind of appearance for a Detroit sports team and talk about them, instead of, and this is really a gripe I have with just sports media in general, is that you never see them say, I don't have enough knowledge on the topic, so I'm not going to comment. They always have to bring a comment, even if they have no knowledge on what they're saying. They're just going to spew stuff. They're going to spew stuff out their mouth and just say random stuff. And it's very clear that he didn't watch the Pistons. I think he even said in this interview that he didn't watch much of the Pistons at all. So you should have just left it at that. I didn't really watch a lot of them. From what I saw from the outside, yeah, Cade's going to be pretty good. It could have been left off with that. But the fact that he had to say this thing about the motor again, it's just stupid. And it's my biggest gripe with sports media. And going back years, and when I first started in this, the very first thing I learned, and I'll always carry this with me. I advise this for anybody else who's trying to get into any kind of sports media that happens to listen to this. The best way you get better is by one, acknowledging when you don't know a lot or when you don't know as much as you want to know. If you acknowledge that, and you also acknowledge, and the second part is, if you also acknowledge that you're not the smartest person in the room, or there's always going to be someone smarter than you, you'll always get better. And the fact that it says, I can't stand when sports media just says something when it's clear they didn't watch anything. Just say you didn't watch it. You don't have enough knowledge on the topic. Don't comment on it. Instead, you get stupid comments like this. But anyways, he says this thing about his motor because going all the way back to like before the draft, he had an episode on First Take where he said they were talking about who should be number one, Jalen Green or Cade Cunningham, and Stephen A said Jalen Green because he's super athletic, he's bouncy athlete, all that kind of stuff. And then he said Cade, he has questions about Cade's motor, and the reasoning behind it was because people said from Cade's college that he, or when you like looked at Cade in college, you followed Cade in college, is that he let his teammates try feel themselves out at the beginning of the game, and then Cade came on late. And he said that was Cade not wanting it for the entire game. That was not Cade wanting the ball from the get-go. He needed to let his teammates like help him get into a groove, and then he wanted to come around too late, and it had something to do with the motor. It's stupid. It doesn't make any sense, but it's clear that since Stephen A hadn't watched the Pistons all year, and since he hasn't watched much of Cade Cunningham at all, that he was just going to stick with that comment before the season, just bring it to this, since that's the only opinion he's had on Cade. So I won't read too much into anything Stephen A says for real. I think Stephen A is a tremendous entertainer. He absolutely is an incredible entertainer. But when it comes to like analyzing the game or anything like that, just don't even pay attention to anything he really says. Thanks for saying he clearly belongs in the league. That's such an insane compliment to give. Well, we all thought he may have been out the league after this year. Oh my God. Like, whatever. Stephen A said some other things too, though. I know he said something nice about, we're going to talk about this a little bit later in the next segment, about Cade Cunningham and Jay Ivey. He did say something nice about them. But yeah, the Cade comment about him not having a motor or need to improve his motor. And then the reasoning being something about the game being faster and the athletes being better. What does that have to do with motor? Motor, at least what I've understood motor to be, is like wanting it and continue, like wanting it consistently and not taking plays off or not giving up. Like that's what motor is to me. What does that have to do with athletes being better and the game being faster? It's almost like I feel like instead of motor, I feel like he's basically trying to say Cade isn't athletic. Like I feel like he's basically saying Cade is not athletic enough and he has to get more athletic because athletes now are athletic, even though Cade's not non-athletic. Like it's a stupid comment. It's a stupid comment to make. It makes no sense. And and this is the kind of coverage the Pistons get by the popular national media guys. This is the kind of coverage that they get, and that's why. Going back to what I said at the very beginning, this is why I get worried about people who I like. Not worried, but just I know to be prepared for guys that I like playing for Detroit sports. I get prepared to hear them get like stupid things said about them by national media because they don't watch Detroit, so they're just going to say stupid stuff when they get asked about it, and it sucks because that's what people outside Detroit will. Now watch, I guarantee you guys, if you guys talk to a fan from like California, Utah, Texas or something, someone doesn't watch the Pistons and they see this comment from Stephen A, I guarantee you this starts getting regurgitated. And all of a sudden it's Cade doesn't have a motor. Oh my God, Cade doesn't want it longer. I guarantee it. I guarantee you this becomes a narrative with Cade out of nowhere because Stephen A is continuing to put this out into the atmosphere, even though it makes no sense. I guarantee it. You'll start seeing that from other guys. And that's the most annoying part about it. That's why I wish they just simply said, no comment. I didn't have enough knowledge on the topic. But you'll never get that from them. It's so annoying. So annoying. But anyways, he did say something good, though, about Jay Ivey and Cade Cunningham together as a backcourt. We'll talk about that when we come back. But first, I have to tell you guys a little bit about one of our sponsors, BetOnline.net. BetOnline.net is your number one source for RE Pro and college football betting needs and sports info this season. Find all the latest football league developments, game matchups, news, and podcasts, including this year's opening weeks of games. BetOnline is also your continuous source for all your sports wagering information, including live betting, esports, and scores. The fastest and easiest way to check on all your favorite sports and events, including MLB, MMA, boxing, and golf. Head to their website today or use your mobile device to learn more about their trends and action today. And if you head over to betonline.net right now and you go to the odds for the rookie of the year in the NBA already, you can get a head start on that. You check that out. You see Jaden Ivey has the third best odds to win rookie of the year. If you're feeling really confident about the Detroit Pistons rookie winning rookie of the year, head over there. Third best in odds. Not so bad odds in my opinion. I think it actually is pretty good odds. I'd take the chance on it. But that's the kind of thing you can do over at betonline.net. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about their trends and action today. BetOnline, where the game starts. So I want to thank you guys again for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We are free and available on all your podcast platforms. If you haven't already, head to our YouTube channel at Locked On Pistons. Hit that subscribe button. It's the best way to support the podcast. Or if you listen to this on one of the podcast platforms, leave us a 5-star review. That's another great way to support the podcast. I would really appreciate it. Also, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, LeBron James, Giannis. Which NBA player moves the betting line the most this season? Locked On and BetOnline odds makers present the NBA top 50 most valuable players starting on September 19th. You'll be interested to see where Cade Cunningham places on this list. Find it on Locked On NBA, wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube. So, like I said, Stephen A., we talked about in the first segment, said something very stupid about Cade Cunningham, the motor thing. We're not going to talk about that anymore. But he did say something very nice about the Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey backcourt. And let's go ahead and read what he says. He says, these brothers can ball. There's no doubt about that. I like their upside. I like the backcourt of Cunningham and Ivey. I love Dwayne Casey as a coach. He's a friend. I've known him for many years. Troy Weaver, who I've known for years. And it's about time that he's a GM and he's getting the recognition that he deserves because he's an outstanding basketball mind. He also goes on to talk about Dwayne Casey, how he should have never been fired by the Toronto Raptors anyways, and how he would have been doing the same thing that Nick Nurse does, blah, blah, all that kind of stuff. He's then asked, does he think that the Pistons could take the kind of leap that the Cavs had made last season? He says, no, not that type of leap. Cleveland just got Donovan Mitchell to pair with Darius Garland. They got front court that can defend. You ain't that team yet, but I think Detroit will be improved, and I think Cunningham and Ivey are a damn good backcourt. So we got a good comment. We did get some good a good coverage of the Pistons, at least a little bit, I guess. It's always nice to get something nice out of it. But yeah, I think a lot of Pistons fans would agree. I think a lot of people outside Detroit, that's probably the only things they really know about the Pistons is Cade Cunningham, Jaden Ivey. Some of them may know. Everyone in Orlando knows who Sadiq Bey is. Like they have very vivid memories of Sadiq Bey. Sadiq Bey still haunts them in their nightmares down in Orlando. So Orlando knows all about him. But outside of that, I feel like the majority of casual fans probably only really know about Cade Cunningham and then Jaden Ivey, simply because Cade obviously was the first overall pick. And then Jaden Ivey was their first pick this past year, and he was a pretty popular player ahead of the draft anyways. So I feel like a lot of people share the same sentiment. And where I wanted to take it was, do I believe that this duo, as of right now, as of September 12th, 11:51 p.m. when I'm recording this, if I had to pick a duo on the Pistons that will be like their duo for a championship, if I had to say, well, I guess the first question would be, do they have that duo on their team yet? And right now, I would say I don't know. I would say that I'm leaning more towards no, but I understand that there's a chance they might have it. And the only duo that I see that might be like a championship duo. And when I say championship duo, that doesn't mean can't be in the starting, like these two guys are in the starting lineup. Like that, I believe Sadiq could be in the starting lineup for the Pistons when they eventually start winning and could contending for a championship kind of thing. I think Cade also. I think Jaden Ivey could also be that. I think Jalen Duren could also be that. So it's not just start. I'm talking about like top two players on a championship team. You're looking at this team. Okay, who do we have to stop? It starts with these two guys. Do they have that? And I feel like they might have that. I believe they have it with Cade. And they maybe could have it with Jaden Ivey. So I do agree with this statement. I think they're going to be the most fun and interesting part about the Pistons to watch. Probably, definitely this season. And maybe for all the seasons going forward. Unless the Pistons get like another top pick and get Victor next year or Scoot next year to add on to them. I think that, not Stephen A., Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey will be like the duo, the fun duo and the dynamic duo to watch for the Pistons for years to come. I'm really interested to see it. All of us in Detroit are really interested to see it because I think they actually fit pretty well next to each other. I know there's some people out there that question, and we've talked about this throughout the offseason before. I know there's people that question somewhat the fit with Cade and Jaden Ivey, and definitely we haven't actually seen it on the court yet. So I guess there's always going to be a question until the season actually starts. But I think that they actually will play well off each other. One of them's hyper explosive, one of them isn't that hyper explosive. One of them's better in the half court and can make better decisions in the half court. One of them needs to improve in that area. One of them's really good in the in between area and can take that kind of pressure off of one of the others. The other one probably is more explosive off ball and can take that kind of pressure off the other. So I feel like they kind of complement each other in different ways. Cade does a lot of the good things that Jaden Ivey is not yet good at. And the things that Jaden Ivey's good at, mostly because of just simply his God-given athletic ability, is better than Cade Cunningham at that. So I feel like they actually complement each other really well. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun to watch them. I hope that they get a lot of highlights, to be honest, to pop up on ESPN. I hope Jaden Ivey gets a few poster dunks immediately. I want to see him pop up on First Take. I want to see him pop up on ESPN with these crazy athletic plays. I can only imagine what would happen. Imagine the first game of the season, opening night. Imagine us being at opening night and Cade throws an alley-oop to Jaden Ivey on the fast break. And Jaden Ivey throws down a windmill or something off the alley. But imagine something like that happening. I think the roof literally would go flying off of LCA and land somewhere across the world. It would be literally bonkers if it happened. And I feel like they're so national media has tied themselves to this duo so much that if they did that, it'd be the number one top play of the entire NBA season. Dead ass completely. I'm not joking either. So I hope we actually get one of that. I think the likelihood of we get that kind of play is over 50%. Because I think there's going to be a lot of opportunities where Cade's going to be leading the fast break and Jaden Ivey's just sprinting down the wing and just uses his explosive to finish one of those. But I'm really interested to see these guys play, man. I know you guys are too. Sounds like Stephen A. Smith is as well. I know a lot of national media guys are going to be excited to see them play. These two guys play together. And I know a lot of national media people, actually, I've seen a lot of them say that they had Jaden Ivey top 3 on their draft board. So the Pistons might be getting a lot of eyes simply because of their selection of Jaden Ivey and a lot of people wanting to watch Cade. So they might actually have more eyes on them this year than last year and probably most years before that as well, besides the Blake Griffin 18-19 season. And even that year, I feel like a lot of people didn't watch them still. So they might even have more eyes on them this year than that year. So it's going to be a lot of fun, man. I can't wait for it. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really interested to see it. I know all of you guys are as well. And hopefully this duo proves Stephen A. right with this comment. And hopefully they grow into being one of the best backcourts in the entire NBA. And I can't wait to see it. When we come back, we'll talk about a few minor things that have rubbed me the wrong way and have gotten on my nerves over the past week or so concerning the Detroit Pistons. Honestly, I might make this segment. I don't know if you guys have ever seen Family Guy, but you guys remember that episode of Family Guy? For those of you guys who did watch Family Guy or do watch Family Guy, the episode of Peter when he's on the news and he got his own segment called "You Want to Know What Grinds My Gears?" I might make my own segment at the end of these podcasts until the season starts or preseason starts or something like that, where I just had a segment where it's you want to know what grinds my gears for the past week, things that have happened over the past week that have grinded my gears. Might make that a segment. We're going to start it right here and we'll see how it goes. But first, you guys got to hear from some of our lovely sponsors. So I want to thank you guys again for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We are free and available on all your podcast platforms. If you haven't already, head to the YouTube channel at Locked On Pistons, hit that subscribe button, or if you listen to this on one of the podcast platforms, leave us a 5-star review on whatever platform that is. That's another great way to support the podcast. I would really appreciate it. Those of you guys watching on YouTube, you guys have seen me wear all 3 of my new snapbacks that I just went and bought. All of them have to do with the other 2 are up here. I'm not going to go grab them. But we talked about this a few episodes ago. All of these hats that I just bought this past week, all of them are teal design, the logo from the 2000s. So I'm assuming ever since the teal dropped, they're just dropping all kinds of teal content everywhere. Not just jerseys, but shirts, hoodies. I saw plenty of hoodies snapbacks, all that kind of stuff. So if you guys are fans of the teal era, and them bringing it back, I'd go check out your local. I don't know if you guys, wherever you guys live, if you guys live in my area, Metro Detroit, there's a sports store, or I guess it's a shoe store called Snipes. I checked that out. A lot of you guys have been asking me, where are you getting your hats? Where are you getting all this teal stuff? Go to Snipes. Look it up on online. You could probably order some shipping as well. They have so much stuff for the Pistons, teal wise. I know the Pistons website has been selling out quickly, and they have a bunch of pre-order stuff, whatever. I'm telling you right now, if you guys can get online and order with Snipes, or you have one at your local, whatever, wherever you live, go up there. You guys will find all kinds of stuff. I got 3 of these hats, but there's probably like 6 or 7 more. There's like 7 different hoodies. Like, they're coming out with crazy stuff ever since the Pistons dropped the teal. So a lot of you guys have been asking for it, where I'm getting them. Check that out, Snipes. But anyways, let's talk about some of the things that have grinded my gears over the past week. And we are in the final home run, the final run to the preseason, to the start of this season, to training camp. So the dead period of basketball, the dead period of Pistons basketball, the dead period of content creators like myself trying to find something to talk about, because it's their job and they have to do it. And they love their job so very much, but they still pretty hard to find things to talk about. Some things that grinded my gears over the past week. You guys will remember last week we recorded an episode about 2K dropping Cade Cunningham's release, or his rating. Something I told you guys something in that episode that would make me furious, and I would have to come on the podcast and talk about it if it did happen. And sadly, or maybe luckily for you guys, because a lot of you guys like it when I go on these rants, but sadly or luckily, it happened. Saben Lee again was rated a 74 in 2K. I have no clue. I have no idea. I don't know what the hell 2K people are watching. I don't know what the hell's going on. I don't know who they have doing their ratings. But the fact that Saben Lee is rated higher than Jalen Duren, rated higher than Killian Hayes, heck, even rated higher than Kevin Knox, the fact that he's rated higher than all these guys is honestly insane. It's borderline blasphemous. It's just crazy. Like, Saben Lee should be literally probably a 68 overall. I don't get why 2K keeps hyping him up. I don't get why Saben Lee keeps getting like all this love. On this last episode we recorded with Sada Baby talked about how much he loved Saben Lee. There's a little minor segment of the fan base that's in love with Saben Lee. There's apparently 2K's in love with Saben Lee. I don't get it. I don't. I don't get why Saben Lee's getting boosted like this, dog. Saben Lee last year shot 39% from the field, dog. 23% from deep. Everyone thinks Killian was inefficient. Compare those stats to Killian's. 23% from deep. Like, come on. 68% from the free throw line his rookie year. 78% this past year. That's a little bit of improvement, I guess. But, like, come on, bro. Come on. That's just one of the things that grinded my gears over this past week. Another thing that grinded my gears this past week. Another thing along with 2K. A lot of you guys that don't play 2K are probably annoyed about this segment. For those of you guys who do play 2K are probably excited about this segment. Nonetheless, 2K's ratings over who is the best defender on the team. Utter trash. All of them are garbage. Killian Hayes' defense sucks in the game. I don't get it. Cade Cunningham's defense on the game sucks. I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense. No sense at all. So yes, this grinded my gears a lot because I play 2K nonstop. I actually have 2K. You guys can't see it. Those of you guys are watching on YouTube. I have my monitor set up right next to me. 2K's on right now. I've been playing it nonstop. Let me know if you guys have been playing with the Pistons. I know a lot of you guys have been tweeting me actually clips or sending me DMs of clips of you guys using the Pistons, some highlights you guys got going, you guys making new jerseys for the Pistons on 2K. Let me know and send me all that stuff if you guys haven't already. If you guys are making some new jerseys, some Pistons kind of designed jerseys, you want me to check them out, send them to me. I'll be sure to look at them and give you guys my thoughts on it. But yeah, man, that's basically all I've got for the podcast today, man. I appreciate you guys for listening. We're coming close, man. We're coming close. Like, I believe I'm going to take a guess. I've talked with a few people. I can't say for sure because nobody really knows. But the ideal date that I'm hearing, or like this date range for training camp to be starting, it sounds like the 25th to the 28th, like in between that area. That sounds like what I'm hearing at least. where it's going to start. Now, it could start way before then. It could start maybe a little bit after that. No one really knows right now. But the more I ask, that right there seems to be the date range I'm getting the most, somewhere around there. So we're coming close to training camp, coming close to preseason. All this random talk about 2K and all that stuff. It won't be happening much longer. We'll have actual basketball to talk about and not just trashing Killian Hayes workouts like all of you guys continue to do. I've never seen a 21-year-old get bullied by a fan base as much as Killian Hayes gets bullied. It's crazy, man. He drops a workout video. He doesn't even drop it. His trainer drops a workout video, and he's getting slammed on Twitter by the Pistons fans. Crazy, man. I ain't never seen this before. I can't believe it. It's honestly kind of crazy to me. But anyways, thank you guys for listening to today's podcast. I appreciate y'all. Thank you for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We are free and available on all your podcast platforms. If you haven't already, head to the YouTube channel at Locked On Pistons. Hit that subscribe button. It's the best way to support the podcast, or leave a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you are listening to this on. The last episode we recorded was with Sada Baby. The YouTube video was a little bit choppy because of some connection issues on his side. But if you guys were watching it on the YouTube and was like, oh, this is tough to watch, the podcast version I was able to edit really well. I feel like a lot better than what it was on YouTube. I'd recommend all of you guys to go to the podcast, whatever podcast platform you have, and listen to this past episode with Sada Baby. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. He dropped a lot of little tidbits about some of his communication with Pistons players, some of the things he does for some of the incoming rookies, and of course his relationship with Killian Hayes and his thoughts on him. It was a really fun episode. I'd go check that out. But until next time, guys, I'll see you guys later. Stay safe out there. Peace out, everybody. I'll see you guys in the next episode. See ya.